Hello and welcome back to Glen Helen for the Monster Energy MXGP of the USA. The last time we were here was in 2011, where Clément de Sales on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki was victorious. This place is steeped in history, steeped in tradition, but the first time that we came here was back in 1990. Roger de Costa was the promoter that day. And that was won by the Belgian Eric Gabors for Team HRC. And that, incidentally, was Gabors' last victory and his last ever race. And it came at a price too, though, because the five-time world champ remember vomiting under his helmet due to overexertion during the closing stage of the second race. I was here, I remember it well. But in 91 and 92, it was Jean-Michel Bayle who was victorious. All those first three Grand Prix on the 500 category, of course, but it was almost 20 years ago before we came back, and that was back in May 2010, where Marvin Musquin and Tony Cairoli were the overall winners.
Qualifies to the gate in 6. Sean Simpson, rider number 24.
You just see the riders down on the grid getting ready, but here's a special report about Romain Febvre.
In 6th position, 7th, Sean in 7th position.
It's everything to me. Since I was young, I dream about that every day, you know. So when you get your first title, when you realize your dream, it's something really special. And you know, I know that everybody cannot realize his dream, you know.
The first race, and also in Thailand, the second race, you know, to see the difference between the other rookies, you could already see a big gap between Romain and all the other guys that stepped up from the MX2 class.
Well, Thailand was an early season high point with a race 2 top 3 finish, but there was one race that really caught everyone's attention, and it started with a bang. Majora.
I remember when I jump, I take the takeoff and I jump on the side, I say, oh, that's not good. And I was thinking, yeah, if I'm not injured by this crash, yeah, I'm really lucky. After I could ride with the bike, the handlebar bent and without front brake. That was really special, but the best moment, for sure, it was to get the title, but the best race, it was in France for my first GP victory and at home. It's always amazing to win at home, so the ground was just amazing. From far, it's the best moment in the season. When you get the title and when you was the best in the season, that's, yeah, mentally changed something, you know. You know that what you did before, it's on a good way. So I will work on that for sure. This year it came, the result came so fast, and I again make a big step on my progression, on the speed, on everything. So I feel that I'm not on my limit, you know. I can still push myself and be more fast and consistent. So I think that's a good point. Yeah, because I think every year I can do one step farther and be better.
is the 147.
And there is Romain Febvre, the new world champion. But let's go down to the grid. Here's Lisa Leyland with Tyler Rattray.
Hello and welcome to the start of the first MXGP race of the day. Very hot and sticky conditions here on the grid for the guys. But I want to grab a quick word with Tyler Rattray if I can. Tyler, must be strange emotions for you. Your last GP, I know you did a lot of racing out here in the States, so good way to finish your career, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I've met a lot of great people here in America. Spent 5 years of my racing career here in America racing supercross and motocross, and it's pretty cool. Got my Europe family racing a Grand Prix here in America, so no better place to end my career.
So I'm guessing you're going to enjoy the races as much as you can.
Yeah, for sure. It's be safe. That's the #1 key, and try get a good start and put in a solid result.
Enjoy the race, Tyler. Thanks for chatting to us. Now, I want to grab a quick word with Marvin Muscan, who's just walking my way now. Sorry, Bobby. Marvin. Hi, Marvin. I know you're actually used to the GPs. What's it like coming back? Have you caught up with old friends and colleagues?
Yeah, it's really nice to see everybody, especially all the KTM family, because everyone is here today. So it's a beautiful day today. It's really warm. I only get the chance to ride only a couple of times on the 450, so it's a little bit tough for me. I didn't get a good day yesterday, so hopefully have a better start today, and maybe I can run more in the top 5 and stay with the group and have more fun, because yesterday it was a little bit only 1.9, so it was really hard to pass.
You said it's quite warm out there. You've been over in the States for a while now racing. Do you feel like maybe you have an upper hand because you've adapted to the conditions a bit more than the other guys?
Yes and no. I haven't raced, since Indiana, the last round of the outdoors, so I took some time off, and like I said, only rode a couple of times. So it's a little bit of off season right now, but no excuses. I'm really enjoying the 450, and the team is doing their best for me. So it's nice to be here, and just want to say a quick word for my brother. I know he's watching live, and I'm gonna give all the support that I can, and some logo for him. So I think a lot about him, and hope to do good for him.
Best of luck. Thank you very much. Great to see Marvin Muscan again. Time now for the MXGP Championship standings.
Right here on a very regular
Championship looks like this. Romain Febvre, of course, already crowned world champion. Paulin and Bobryshev, though, they're still going at it in second and third. Just 27 points separating those two guys. Simpson is fourth. It's not a done deal for Sean Simpson at the moment, but Max Nagel can still affect that. Jerry Van Hoorbeek is 6th, Kai Rowley is 7th, Coldenhoff, Waters and De Salle are your top 10 as we watch the riders go out for their sighting lap in readiness for MXGP Race 1.
We got some back markers there, and I'm not going to mention them because they weren't even in the top 20, but we've got quite a few riders, a field of 35.
So as the riders head out onto track then for their sighting lap, let's take a look at this Glen Helen circuit in a little bit more detail. Here was the MXGP qualifying race from yesterday. And the gate dropped, and as the riders headed down the start straight, it was Cooper Webb over on the left that outgunned the HRC 21 machine of Gauthier Paulin, and Tony Kai Rowley back from injury this weekend. Josh Grant was there in 4th place around the outside, but Ben Townley, Adam Sterry, they banged bars, and that took out Dean Wilson and Evgeny Bobryshev. Sterry would remount but crashed out 4 laps later and decided to sit it out, but he is out on track today. Cooper Webb led though. Briefly on the 175 Yamaha, Tony Kai Rowley behind him, but you saw Josh Grant quadding in as the 2 leaders ahead of him went triple single. Then Kai Rowley went around the outside. That allowed Grant up the inside. Final straight before they headed down onto the start straight, and it was an easy pass in the end for Josh Grant. Just laid down the power on that Monster Energy Kawasaki, blasted past Kai Rowley as if he was standing still, and then immediately went after Cooper Webb, and it wasn't long before he passed his fellow American, and what was a good day for the American riders in general. Tony Kai Rowley and Romain Febvre battled over 3rd place, but this was the pass. Josh Grant just got good drive out of the turn. Webb left the door open a little bit too much, and that was Grant leading the way on lap 2. Just behind Kai Rowley and Febvre was Gauthier Paulin and Jason Anderson, as that Anderson would eventually go through with 5 laps to go, putting him in 4th place. Kai Rowley would eventually come home in 5th. And Paulin would eventually drop back to 6th position. But this battle, while it lasted, between Kai Rowley and Febvre was good while it lasted, but in the end, after spending about 4 laps behind the 8-time world champion Febvre, the new world champion, was through into third. Went after Cooper Webb, had a cheeky look across to his left, thought maybe Webb was going to cut back, and just got on the gas and just didn't get the drive, and Webb was back through, and that's where he would stay in second position. Despite mounting another challenge in the closing stages, Romain Febvre just wasn't able to gain the ground. But on the final lap, Josh Grant already showboating for his home fans here, much to the delight of those guys as well that lined the fences yesterday. There's a few more of them in here today, but Josh Grant picking up his first qualifying race win in what's his debut performance in MXGP as well for Monster Energy Kawasaki. And he was a comfortable winner as well. Almost 6 seconds, but he did back it off on the final lap. Cooper Webb came home second, Febvre third, Anderson and Cairoli were your top 5 in MXGP qualifying.
And gentlemen.
So the start list.
I can actually hear every word ever said, man. It's awesome.
Looks like this, the start list. Josh Grant, Cooper Webb, Romain Febvre. That's how they finished in the qualifying race yesterday. Adam Wheeler on trackoffroad.com joins me now. We'll bring you in just a moment, Adam, but they were the highlights from the qualifying race.
And I forget what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm having so much fun with it.
I'll tell you, my compadre at Anaheim and all the way through
It was
Vegas
Josh
in
Grant who was
72
victorious
is
in the
allergic,
qualifying
you know.
race. But Adam Wheeler,
People think that he's saying, it's not, it's just the echo.
it's pretty warm outside.
Yeah, fair to say, Paul. It was hot yesterday. You know, a bit of acclimatization needed for the Grand Prix riders. You know, we have heat like this maybe 2-3 times maximum in a Grand Prix year. So a couple of riders struggling with it, a couple of others, you know, adapting to it quite well. I think the key to this race, this first moto in MXGP, is what kind of start is Josh Grant going to get? He started third yesterday and, you know, pretty much took off. So if riders like Romain Febvre, Tony Cairoli, I don't think so. I think he'll only have the speed to run 3, 4, maybe 5 laps at full speed because of his recuperation from that left arm injury. But Max Nagel, Gautier Paulin, we need to see some more from him. 1 or 2 others, you know, maybe could get in the mix. It will be interesting to see what those guys have for Jason Anderson and also for riders like Josh Grant and Paul.
Yeah, there's Josh Grant, Monster Energy Kawasaki Racing Team. He was the qualifying race winner yesterday. He seemed quite relaxed in the post-race press conference, didn't he? He seemed confident in what he can do today. He's got his eye on the prize, but you talk to 1 or 2 other American riders that know the scene here, you know, maybe kind of doing him an injustice by sort of saying, oh, maybe he's only good for 1 race. But it's hot here. He's used to racing in the heat. He didn't overexert himself yesterday, and like I say, he looked more than comfortable. So, you know, we could see an American winner on the top step in MXGP come the second race.
We're looking at his main challenges here. Cooper Webb on first ride on a 450, preparing for the Motocross of the Nations. Romain Febvre, the world champion just before, and Jason Anderson. These for me are the top 4 riders that are going to be going for podium positions, you know, on paper and just before we start the motos here. Josh Grant looked like he was riding, you know, with one eye closed yesterday. Paul. He's done that many laps around this track, so you know, you'd expect him to be up there, and a lot of the Americans here and the natives saying, you know, it would be unusual if Josh Grant was not at the front in Glen Helen.
But there were 1 or 2 surprises as well, weren't there? You know, Max Nagel didn't get the great start. Tony Cairoli, we knew, you know, he might be out of sorts. But you know, Febvre was only really the only guy that took the challenge to any of the Americans. Of course, it was only Cooper Webb because Josh Grant was already a million miles ahead by the time that he got into third. Spent too much time behind Tony Cairoli, didn't he, Romain Febvre? Anderson rode good and just made the Europeans look ordinary, did the top 3 Americans.
Yeah, it's only Saturday.
It's only Saturday. And we've been down this road before, haven't we, earlier on in the year, of course.
So who's your money on for the whole shot here? Long start straight. Obviously the only, I think, bank curve we have in Grand Prix as well. Glen Helen here, quite special, that first corner.
Well, I watched the live images yesterday from this monitor as Paulin started up the inside here. He looked like he got the jump and was more than a bike length clear within the first few meters coming out of the gate. But Cooper Webb just hooked a gear and was 2 or 3 bike lengths clear by the time he got to the first turn. So that Yamaha is working very, very fast. It's very similar to the factory bike of Justin Barcia's. But the 15-second board is up. That's about the turn of 5. Ingo Parch, our race director, down there. And here we go. Head go down. There's the head of Nagel, I think, just dropping down. And again, a good jump from the Honda here, closest to us, of Gautier Paulin. But is it Webb again, just like before? Cooper Webb on the Yamaha. Oh, how close. Oh, we've got carnage.
I think that was Bobryshev.
Carnage at the first turn. I think both the Hondas are through here. So is Webb one of those guys? We've got Van Hoorbeek there. 28, Tyler Rattray in his last Grand Prix. And is that that's Grant, isn't it?
Yeah, the Kawasaki on the floor. No, it's not.
No, 505. So the 505, one of those guys, Sean Lipanovic. So as the riders head down the hill, it's Cooper Webb with the hole shot. Kai Rowley there behind him in second. Muscan a better start this time in third. But there is Josh Grant in third place. So, Simpson. So Simpson, we didn't see his bike there, but Simpson just going through the motion, shaking his head 1 week before the Motocross of Nations. We do not need that. He doesn't need that. Team GB doesn't need it. But up front, Cooper Webb, Tony Cairoli, Josh Grant, your top three, as Muscan trying to dive down the inside of his French teammate, Romain Fevre, who's all over the back. There is the Team France team right there. Paul and Romain Fevre and Marvin Muscan. Somebody asked me at the start of the weekend, who's your Simpson? Is that a dead leg? I think it might be a dead leg, judging by the fact that they were just rubbing that femur area. It would be a fracture.
He also needs points today, Paul, just to take fourth place in the championship. That's up for grabs. He was top 5, 2 rounds to go last year, and that injury in Brazil, the shoulder popped out, and he fell down to 7th. So it'd be cruel if history repeats again.
Well, he's got 39 points. He's got 39 points on Max Nagel and another 16 back on Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. So in that respect, Van Hoorbeek was down in that crash as well as Webb under attack here from Tony Cairoli, who, when he came over the line yesterday, I don't know if you saw it, Adam, but I was watching these images. Grant to the inside, goes into second. Simpson on the bike, we're told, but riding back to the pits. So hopefully we'll see him in the second moto. But a great move there, and Josh Grant looking to go around the outside.
Cairoli as well as that Paul line just behind, being threaded there. Oh, what a go. Oh, that's Anderson gone down. Is that the Husqvarna there? Somebody just sliding out of the back of the picture.
Yeah, Anderson.
Just that loose kind of like soil at the top of the off camber there.
Well, Tony was very short there coming into land. There was a lot of guys doing that in the opening laps of practice yesterday. That's a great shot there. It gives you some idea as to how quicker or how much slower those bikes are against each other as they head up the start straight into that first turn, through that Talladega turn. But Cooper Webb on that 450, rookie in the class, rookie on the bike as well, of course. Although he did ride the 450 in Paris Supercross a couple of years ago in his debut, didn't he, remember?
That's right, well, he didn't show any respect to Romain Fevre either yesterday, did he? So certainly getting in tune with another yellow flag down as they come down the hill.
Just a marshal waving his jacket.
Enthusiastically in coloured yellow.
So Webb then leads the way. Tony Cairoli second, Grant is third. Paulhan there has been passed by Romain Fevre. Fevre got his head down. And I don't know about you, Adam, but watching the race yesterday, it seemed like Romain Fevre took a few laps to get past Tony Cairoli. Once he was there, he was quickly onto the back of Cooper Webb, who then got a bit of a spurt on, seeing that it was the world champ behind him. But in the closing lap or so, Fevre just, wound it up, as we've seen so many times this year. Thought, I've done enough to show that I can get onto the back of these guys, and saving it all for today. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got nothing to ride for today apart from pride. I mean, he's leading every statistic apart from pole positions in MXGP this year. Romain Fevre's done his job. So let's see who can catch up here now, because Tony Cairoli for me is not going to be factoring in with the lap times he's setting now at the end of the race. He admitted as much, 3 or 4 laps yesterday, and he was, what was the phrase he used? I was following the bike.
Yeah. Well, Romain Fevre obviously has already won 7 Grand Prix this year in France, in Italy, in Germany, Sweden, Czech Republic, in Italy again at Mantova, and of course a week ago in Mexico. But he would love to add a Monster Energy MXGP of the USA to his already growing trophy cabinet, wouldn't he? And he's got Josh Grant right there in his sights, who's going after. There's the 4. Around the outside, he did this yesterday. Cairoli goes to the inside, but then will he stay outside or switch it back to the inside? Because he did this yesterday in qualifying. He went wide. Grant was up the inside and got the drive down the very next straight into the step up that takes him back onto the start straight area. But we'll soon see here. There's Cooper Webb.
Let's say we're going to get a replay.
Down the inside. Grant taking the front wheel away from Cairoli as he sliced his way back up the inside, going past pit lane. Cairoli wouldn't have liked that, but Grant, you know what? He don't care.
Correct me if I'm wrong as well, Paul, but wasn't Cairoli the winner of the last Grand Prix here in 2011?
DeSalle. Cairoli won the first one in 2010.
Beat Mike
back end getting a little bit leery on the Kawasaki of Josh Grant. Those square edge bumps now starting to come to the surface.
Well, on the last lap, Cooper Webb set the fastest lap of the race, so Grant really needs to go with him now, doesn't he, if he wants to try and win this moto?
Yeah, and Fevre getting left behind here. as well, because Cairoli was good for 3 or 4 laps, wasn't he? But how much of that is the psychological thing? Tony Cairoli, you know, shaking his arm after the qualifying race, was being taken for a ride, but we know how wild he is. He said he's only been on the bike for a week, but we also know that he's been riding a little bit longer than that as well. So, you know, he wants to come here. He wouldn't have come here if he didn't feel he was ready for it, and he said he's testing 2016 parts as well. So there's a lot going on in Tony's mind, but as he chases down Josh Grant in that 3rd and 2nd position, here's another look at the start.
On the outside.
Well, let's see if we can see what happened at the first corner that took out Jeremy Van Horbeke and Sean Simpson. Where are they placed as they... Oh, there's Todd Waters stalling as he came out of the line.
Missing a gear.
Right,
look on the inside of the picture. There's Webb, and watch Webb and Paulin on the Honda.
Yeah,
there's Simpson 24 in the middle.
Oh,
just somebody went rear wheel. That's Simpson going down and getting clattered.
Yeah,
and then again.
Van Horbeke. And Lipanovic also getting caught in that.
So Simpson just clipping the rear wheel of the Honda there, Paul, and then also getting hit in the carnage by one of the Kawasaki's.
But look how quickly Josh Grant has closed in onto the rear wheel of the 175 of Cooper Webb, who's led here now for the 2nd official lap.
Let's have a look at the Grant with the fastest lap of the race, a 2:15. Febra also on a 2:15, Paul, so he's the other fastest rider on the track. Needs to get a move on and pass Cairo to join these two at the front.
Going to be side by side down the next straight between Cooper Webb and Josh Grant, and Cooper Webb has it at the moment, but we saw Grant pass Cairoli here a lap ago, and he's jumping across and he's going to repeat the move here. And Webb knows he's there. He couldn't do anything. He had to back out, and well, a little bit of track knowledge there from Josh Grant.
No, he's going back. He's going back. Oh.
No. Had to pull out of the challenge. But going down the inside, he's going to have to be hard on the brakes, but he's not going to go through there. So Grant gets forced wide. Cooper Webb up the inside will take the line away from the Kawasaki rider, but then loses drive. But he's still there, absolutely bar to bar, giving the American fans what they wanted here, and Grant still trying to keep it in there. Launching downhill.
On the inside now.
Great race between these two, but they're both going to go to the inside. Oh, using that bank very nicely there, did Josh Grant, just to sort of get himself back online and into the berm at the bottom of the hill. But Grant, your new leader, but not for long, because Webb got good drive there, caught Grant napping, who was trying to keep the front end down on that Monster Energy Kawasaki, and was just a little bit off balance. But it's Webb who still leads here.
As a former rider at this level, Paul, going from a 250 to a 450 riding at the front of a national or Grand Prix, whatever, is it that taxing on you? Is it that difficult?
Well, we'll soon find out, won't we?
Precious insight there from former Grand Prix winner Paul Malin.
Well, the thing is, you know, Webb, obviously we know what he can do. He's a national champion, of course, over here. He's, you know, he won races, he's won rounds and all the rest of it. He's been good in Supercross, he's been good everywhere, and obviously going from 250 to the 450, you know, you have the technique, it just comes down to his fitness, doesn't it, at the end of the day? And we don't know how this is, neatly done there from Grant, but gets the door slammed shut in his face. And he feels like he's at the Speedway Grand Prix of the USA, let alone the Motocross GP, because he's on the power. And these two, banging bars. Could have got the front wheel caught in the foot peg there as Grant went through.
And Webb's known to be a bit of a determined racer, isn't he, Paul? What point is he going to switch off and think, well, actually, I've got to, you know, head over to France in a couple of days?
Well, also Grant, you know, how much is he spending here? Let's have a look at that again. Through the velodrome, getting on the gas. Webb tried to cut it down early, look. Front wheel going as well. Definitely testing the powers of adhesion there, but the back end on that Kawasaki.
He had the drive then, didn't he? He counted it a little bit. It was right on the edge, but he just got the traction and made the move down the outside.
Great slow-mo there as well. Right, Grant, about 2 or 3 bike lengths clear then as they head back up into turn 1. He wasn't the fastest rider on track that time, but he does have the fastest lap of the race. A lap ago does Josh Grant, but Tony Cairoli in there in 3rd, and these two just like they were yesterday. So actually, this is about like it was from about lap 3 or 4 yesterday in the qualifying race.
Nice. Oh. Not much room when you start going up around the outside there. That's really just like a long corner up to the top of the hill.
And you see the race line already starting to get chewed up as Cairoli was hitting there, and Febra was taking different lines, a little bit longer, but those lines will start to come into play, Adam.
Cairoli, how long can he last? Like you're saying, Paul, yesterday, a little bit of gamesmanship, trying to not cover himself, but basically say the reasons why he was here. Wanted to get back on track, wanted to race the Grand Prix, was testing. You know, maybe he's throwing a little bit of a red herring.
And I'm sure there's plenty Team Italy fans at home wondering why he didn't make the decision, or why he made the decision to not race the Monster Energy Motocross of Nations in a week's time. And Tony Cairoli, of course, saying he didn't feel he would be ready. Well, if you're not ready for there, obviously you're not going to be ready here. So, you know, there's a very legitimate argument there, isn't there? Maybe it's a fan-based thing, I don't know.
In the end, the Italian Federation put it down to a youth, you know, choosing youth over experience argument, wasn't it? So it was a case of blooding some of the younger, inexperienced racers from Italy rather than, you know, using Cairoli, who's won maybe 2 or 3 editions now.
But that's also, you know, Cairoli, with his decision to not go to France, they then based their team around the youth. Had Cairoli been there, I'm sure Philip Arts and Guarneri would have been there as well. Possibly. Anyway, just over 19 minutes to go. Josh Grant leads. This guy here, Cooper Webb. There they are, the 2 leaders. Cairoli and Fevre locked together as well. Paulin has been pushed down to 6th because Koldenhoff now up to 5th. The top 4 riders only separated by about 4 seconds. Adam Wheeler, Josh Grant, Cooper Webb, Tony Cairoli and Roman Fevre. Fevre going down the inside. Here's Koldenhoff on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki. He's now up into 5th place. And Paulin 6th, Townley 7, Muscan 8, Wilson is 9th, and Jason Anderson is in 10th. Cairoli still being chased by Roman Fevre.
Ben Townley ball 7th place. Not a bad outing, you know, obviously getting in shape for representing Team New Zealand next weekend as Fevre goes after Cairoli. But he won a moto here, 2010.
Was it 10 or 11?
10, I think it was 10. He you know, that was his last Grand Prix checkered flag, I think.
Well, just looking at these 2 guys here and going back to Ben Townley, he was 11th in the qualifying race yesterday, 57, almost 58 seconds down on Josh Grant, but that was a 25-minute race. BT only 13 seconds off the lead at the moment. So did he save something again for the race today? You would think so, because everybody, whether they like the heat or not, or are used to it or not, was saying that the heat would be a factor today, and also yesterday in the qualifying. You know, Josh Grant alluded to it as well. Spoke to Ryan Villapoto, who we know, you know, spent Saturday burning himself out in Europe and then having nothing for the race until, you know, well, certainly for the first race, and then just running out of steam in the second race. But he said, you know, Ryan Villapoto came and offered him a little bit of advice yesterday. Said, don't burn yourself out. You don't have to do anything that you know, feel is going to exert you, if you know what I mean. So obviously heeding that advice.
Well, according to people, certainly in the press room, we've seen far more races at this track. You know, this is the form book. This is Josh Grant, you know, doing extremely well, knowing the track inside out and taking potentially a moto victory. Whether that can extend to a Grand Prix victory, we'll have to wait and see.
Anderson and Muscan.
Yeah, Anderson's made a good recovery. Marvin Muscan, first race on the 450, looking for
get squeezed.
That's a bit of a preview for next year. Marvin for the first time racing the bigger bike.
And where's Wilson then? Because Wilson was round about that little group as well, because we had Grant Webb,
place.
Cairoli.
He should be at the back of this picture somewhere.
Yeah, Fevre, Koldenhoff, Paulin, Townley. Muscan and Wilson have both been passed by Anderson. So Anderson is definitely on the charge and going after Gauthier Paulin and Ben Townley. There's Townley, but he can't believe it that he's on the rear wheel of the guy who's about to pick up 2nd in the championship.
And on a factory bike, Townley riding with pro circuit support from his years there representing Mitch Payton's team.
There's Anderson just going through. Rockstar Energy Husqvarna neatly up the inside of Gauthier Paulin. Oh, that's right. Ben Townley actually going through up the inside. He'll cut back to the right-hand side. No. Paulin just sitting there at the moment, looking, again, just like he's just riding for 2nd place in the championship at the moment, doesn't he? You know, I spoke to him this morning, said, I thought you got the whole shot yesterday. He went, no, these bikes, you know, their bikes are quicker. And that was it, you know, alluding to the Yamaha as Townley dives down the inside. They were talking to each other in the back of the Honda truck this morning, those two, so I can't imagine there'd be any nastiness there, but the back end getting a little bit loose on that HRC. Honda wide open that door. Townley going to jump down the outside of Paulin.
Great racing between the Hondas.
Yeah, Paulin doesn't quite look comfortable, does he?
And Paulin did an interview with him on Friday, and he talked quite a bit about his knee, just saying how much it's been bothering him since he injured it in that first moto in the Czech Republic, or was that 5 rounds ago? And you know, inside Honda as well, they're saying there's not such a big deal about it. There's not much wrong with it. He just needs rest to be able to stop gathering fluid on the knee or whatever the problem is. I mean, he's been racing full gas. He hasn't been the Gautier Paulin we've been used to over the last 3 seasons, but you could say that for most of this championship, can't you?
Anderson getting ready to line up a pass on Ben Townley as they battle over 7th position, but as you can see at the moment, it's Josh Grant that leads, Cooper Webb second, Kai Rowley is third. Fastest rider on track is Josh Grant with a 2:15.1. That's 3/4 of a second quicker than Webb and about 6/10 quicker than Kai Rowley. And about 5/10 quicker, half second quicker than Febvre.
Well, look at that, Paul. We've got 4 riders within the same second.
And there's your leader over the Camelback, heading towards the Monster Energy finish line. So the big question here, Adam, 14.5 minutes to go. Fitness coming into it. Well, Tony Kai Rowley says he doesn't have any because he's had 5 weeks off the bike, and Romain Febvre, we know he's got plenty, but the 2 question marks maybe, are they over the 2 Americans ahead of him, Josh Grant and Cooper Webb? Cooper Webb, you'd expect him maybe to fade, maybe not in the first race, but the second race, just to ride in that 450 in these conditions. You know, it will be physically demanding, but he might surprise us all. But Josh Grant is the surprise at the moment.
And on that last lap was the first time in this race where the 2 Grand Prix riders have been faster than the Americans. So, you know, fitness again coming into it. Obviously, the Grand Prix riders doing a full season. This is the last, the 18th round.
Down the inside, gets it done this time. So on lap 7, Romain Febvre finds his way past Kai Rowley. Similar move to yesterday, but Kai Rowley fights back and takes back 3rd position immediately. Febvre was just a little bit hesitant. And this is the question as well that people have been asking as well, you know, at the press conferences and different interviews, asking Romain Febvre, you're a world champion. Are you a worthy world champion? Because you've done it without Kai Rowley there, without Dessau, without Strybos, without Villapoto, without Nagel and all these guys here. And here's Tony Kai Rowley, who's been missing for 5 weeks, saying, I'm nowhere near 100% fit, matching the pace of Romain Febvre. But I think Romain Febvre, if he finds a way through, he will, you know, get himself onto the rear wheel of the 2 Americans ahead of him. Max Nagel, just on our indicator here, he's gone from 11th position. He's out of the point. So Nagel, has he crashed or has he got a mechanical? Can't see any yellows out on track at the moment.
And you try and look for the white number 12. These guys are right on the back of Cooper Webb now, Paul. So battle for 2nd position, really hotting up. But Kai Rowley, was he being a little bit coy, a little bit of gamesmanship yesterday about his fitness?
Of course he was. Never plays his cards closely to his chest, does he?
8 times world champion. It's an interesting tactic on the last Grand Prix of the year. But Romain Febvre just, Kai Rowley's found something on that last half a lap, hasn't he?
Well, like I said, you know, he wouldn't have come back here if he didn't think he could do something, at least get on the podium. He wouldn't be here if he wasn't ready, and you know, he's not going to be here if he's only 80% ready or 70% ready, and then not ride the Nations next week. So I think he's more than ready than he's letting on. So, you know, to be carrying this pace now, 7 laps into the race, 8 laps into the race, you know, lap times almost, well, they are 2-minute laps, aren't they? More than 2 minutes. So he's been going now sort of a fair while.
And for me, just Febvre looking a little bit more ragged than usual. You know, that bike's moving around a lot more. I mean, he's been pretty much in sync with it all year. It's one of the reasons behind his championship success. But for me, it's just it's not hooking up as well as it usually does. Oh,
and Febvre down the inside of Kai Rowley. Kai Rowley messed up coming over there, and I wonder if he's had a hard landing there, Kai Rowley. So
yeah, he's cruising on the pegs.
Yeah, he definitely had the hand off the handlebar. I wonder if he got short on that jump coming back onto the start straight there. Webb just, that Yamaha pouring at the air. And he's closing in on Grant and bringing Febvre with him. So Febvre, I wonder the reason why, Adam, that you were thinking that maybe Romain Febvre riding a little bit ragged, just because maybe he's not been pushed like this in a few races. He's been happy to sit there in second, third or fourth, but he's been making very, very good starts lately as well, hasn't he? You know, racking off the wins for fun. And here he is in a situation where maybe he wants to prove himself to the American audience, and maybe just riding a little bit over himself, maybe just a little bit too hard, and not riding like the Roman that we know, a little bit smoother, who has smoothed it out since his first Grand Prix win in France.
We certainly want to be beating Cooper Webb on the other Yamaha. Let's keep an eye on his lap times there, because it's a shame Kai Rowley just set the fastest lap of the race on that last one. So like you said, he must have come short or just hit that kind of step up awkwardly coming onto the start straight. Maybe just a small break needed, or is that it for his race pace? Let's have a look.
Ironically, Tony Kai Rowley set the fastest lap of the race that lap, where he started to pull up and shaking that left arm off of the handlebar with a 2:14.729. Josh Grant 2:15.004, 2:15.128 for Webb, and a 2:15.337 for Febvre. That gap still about 4 seconds between the leader and the guy in third place now, Romain Febvre. Here's Tony Kai Rowley, keep taking that arm off the handlebar, every opportunity just to almost let it breathe almost. Is it arm pump or is it just pain in the elbow? Difficult to say from here. But Glenn Koldenoff, if he's not careful, well, he's got 10 seconds to make up. I was going to say he's probably in danger of losing that 4th place, but Koldenoff just a little bit off the pace. Wasn't feeling well yesterday.
Yes, good ride by Koldenoff to be top 5. He was actually throwing up on the bike, so just said he had no energy, didn't feel good at all. So really qualified down in 12th, I think. But he's got Anderson right behind him.
Yeah, and was only able to drink 1 bottle of water, he said, as well. But is that Paulan?
Yep.
In 7th place. Muscan 8, Townley 9. Wilson is in 10th. Then behind them, Genny Bobryshev, Davy Millsaps, Tommy Searle is 13th, Guarnieri 14, Boutron 15, Van Horbeek 16, Sterry 17. Todd Waters has sorted that bike out. He's now in 18th ahead of Ferris and Kei Yamamoto, with Rattray just outside of the points in 21st on what is going to be his last but 1 ride.
And Max Nagel disappeared completely, so that was a technical, or if it was a crash, I think we would have seen yellows or something around, so maybe a technical problem there for the Husqvarna rider, who led the championship at the start of the season at a fantastic beginning to the year.
Koldenoff getting it wrong, coming out of that left-hander, turn 2, and Jason Anderson looking to get the power down on that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. He's only been riding.
Good use of the track there to come across, keep the position.
Look at the line there from Anderson, just going all the way down the smooth side. Able to brake heavily as Grant now has been caught by Cooper Webb, so has he hit the wall here?
And Febvre there as well. Like we're saying, the conditions are hotter than yesterday, less breeze, you know, maybe just the last 5-10 minutes of these races going to be so important in the second moto as well.
3.5 seconds separating them as it came over the line, but it's less than that now as you see Febvre just off the back of the screen there. It's more like maybe 2.5 seconds between them. So all of a sudden we've got a 3-way scrap here between Josh Grant, Cooper Webb and Romain Febvre there. Oh, a little bit too much airtime then from Cooper Webb. He's got the power down on that Yamaha. He's going after the Kawasaki of Grant, who looks to be fading now. Adam Wheeler with 8 minutes to go.
Still a good lap time from Grant on the last one though, Paul. They're still in the same second, these first 3 riders going for the podium. Which one of them is going to be prepared to sort of dispel the most energy?
Febvre.
Yeah,
down the inside.
Another motor to go, you know. It is warm. It must be like mid-30s, getting to high 30s out there.
Well, they were saying 37, weren't they, is what they were predicting. So triple digits in terms of, you know, the way that the Americans look at temperatures here, but no longer jumping that quad, so you can do that when you're fresh-faced, but, you know, with 8 minutes, 7.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Oh, Febvre.
For me, Febvre's the one who's going to be suffering most in this heat. But then again, Cooper Webb's first ride, you know, at this pace on a 450.
But I think with Romain Febvre, I think he's got his eyes on these 2 guys ahead of him. I think that's his focus, taking his thought away from the problems that he might be suffering in the heat. If he was leading the race, I think it might be different because, you know, it's one of those things where you're out on your own, too many things to think about. You make a mistake, suddenly that heat hits you. But he's got these 2 guys here. He doesn't want to get beat. He's the world champion.
I wonder if Grant's... Oh, Webb! Oh, so close. I just wonder if Grant's, you know, maybe suffering from that, Paul. Just being out front, maybe not taking the same lines as Webb. Webb's had a good look around now, hasn't he, for a lap and a half?
You're right there, Adam.
Well, it was very close.
Webb looking to charge down the inside, but Grant had a very good line here early. He's hard on the brakes down there as well, isn't he? Josh Grant on that Monster Energy Kawasaki 35, wasting no time getting on the power. That seems to be Romain Febvre's problem today. Just his corner speed isn't quite there as it was in Mexico, for instance, where he was just hitting those lines. But he's definitely making up for it, though, because those guys are not quite equidistant, but, you know, Romain is there. He knows that he's got them right where he wants to be, but... what was the look at the time? That's like 2:15.7 for Febvre, a 17.2 for Grant, and a 16.0. So Febvre is the fastest rider on track out of this trio of riders.
Well, and Webb just looking for a way past Grant, and maybe he's holding them up a little bit, which has allowed Febvre to join the battle.
Look at Febvre's line here. Wide, in, out early, no, just using the bank, but 2 Americans going for it, putting on the show for the fans. Oh, I thought he was going to get up the inside there, but just getting a little bit too much airtime there, Grant.
A little bit of variation as well from Cooper Webb. Not much he can do at the top of the hill there, but he showed it.
Building into a bit of a crescendo here as Grant just hanging on from Webb. Febvre right there, though, ready to pounce. Oh, and we've got a new leader. So Webb dives down the inside of Grant, and he's now falling right into the clutches of Romain Febvre. Surely just a matter of time, maybe just corners before Febvre finds his way past the Kawasaki of Grant. But for the first time in this race, or actually not for the first time since the beginning of the race, Cooper Webb finds himself leading once again. Josh Grant now second. Febvre right there, less than a second between them, as you can see.
imperative that Febvre gets past Grant as well to go after the other Yamaha rider. What a boost for Cooper Webb.
Oh, and a mistake there from Grant. Just coming out of the rhythm section, and Febvre alongside him as they almost touch wheels through in the air.
I'm saying if Webb can win this, Paul, what a boost ahead of the Motocross of Nations. First outing on a 450, you know, in motocross, and taking a potential victory. But what can Romain Febvre do here? Because Grant, for me, is struggling, isn't he?
Yeah, he needs to be looking for different lines now as Romain Febvre gets good drive on that factory Yamaha. Alongside the Kawasaki, will he try to sweep around the outside at the top of the hill? He's certainly putting the squeeze on the American, who's going to take the Frenchman wide.
Didn't have the real estate.
Check you with your terminology. The what? Real estate?
The section of dirt on that particular part of the track. There you go.
I like it. You're blending in.
Yeah, it's 5 days in California.
But he's found a way through, though. So, Yamahas 1 and 2, Cooper Webb and Romain Febvre. 4 minutes to go.
Right, come on, money on the table, Paul.
Romain.
4 minutes to go.
Romain Febvre all the way.
Is that your heart or your head speaking?
Both.
I'm inclined to agree.
But Cooper Webb, though, you can't take anything away from him. Stepping up from a 250 and jumping on a 450 and taking it to the MXGP riders here. But he's got Febvre, the world champ, breathing down his neck. That uphill is starting to get very chewed up, isn't it? Some of the guys there just alternating their lines, but Romain Febvre not in a hurry now. He's got 3.5 plus 2 to go, and the lap times here this weekend, Adam, 2 minutes 15 thereabouts, so 4.5 minutes on top of that. So we've still got a way to go here.
Nicely done, Romain Febvre through there as well. I can't see Cooper Webb getting tired, but then trying to pass him, as we saw yesterday, he's going to have a go back, isn't he? Doesn't matter what stage of the race it is.
Deja vu between these two guys. Triple single, both riders there. They've dropped Josh Grant to the tune of about 5.5 seconds in the space of a lap.
And Febvre, you know, could hang in second place. Knows he's in a good position for the overall as well.
But what a debut performance, not just for Josh Grant, but for Cooper Webb especially. As I said, stepping up from the 250 onto the 450. First time in the MXGP category here, the Monster Energy MXGP of the USA. And, well, we're used to seeing it with Romain Febvre, but Cooper Webb, when you look at Jason Anderson in fourth, 20 seconds further back, Cairoli riding injured, 23 seconds further back, Holdenoff 24, Paulin almost 30 seconds further back, and also Marvin Musquin. And when you look at Marvin Musquin and Cooper Webb, same deal this weekend, both riding MXGP for the first time. Upper hand, Cooper Webb.
Absolutely, that better start really making it count. And the track is rougher than it's been since yesterday. Rough as it's been all weekend, and I think that's really coming into play because the lap times were so tight yesterday. It was difficult for the riders to make a difference. Marvin
Musquin also shaking his left hand there, so I'm not sure if he picked up a tweak yesterday or not. Or actually, on the studio show, he was taped, wasn't he?
Yeah, that might as well be arm pump on the bigger bike. There was Cairoli coming under the pressure from Glenn Holdenoff for 5th place. Jason Anderson, we haven't seen him on Husqvarna, but he's now occupying 4th somewhere.
Yeah. And like I say, Cairoli now under the cosh from Holdenoff. A minute and a half plus 2 laps to go. MXGP Race 1, the Monster Energy MXGP of the USA here at Glen Helen, Southern California. Cooper Webb leading by the narrowest of margins. It was less than a second between him and Romain Febvre in what's a Yamaha 1-2 at the moment. Josh Grant now 5.5 seconds further back. Anderson 4th. Cairoli here is in 5th. And just behind Cairoli is Glenn Holdenoff in 6th. Paulin 7th, Musquin 8th, Wilson 9 and Bobryshev 10. Townley is now fading down to 11th, but it's still a very good ride for the former world champion. Tommy Searle is in 12th place on his 350 Red Bull KTM. And we've got Van Horbik, Guarnieri, Millsaps in 15th, Boutron, Waters, Sterry, Ferris and Yamamoto. Sean Simpson fell at turn 1, did not rejoin the race. He rode his bike back to the paddock area, looked like he took a knock to his left thigh area. Hopefully nothing more than a dead leg in what was a multi-bike pile-up through that infamous Talladega turn. But 3 laps to go. Adam Wheeler, OnTrackOffroad.com. This is the battle for the lead. Cooper Webb on the Yamaha Star Racing Yamalube machine, leading the way from Romain Febvre, who's just lost that toe this time around. It was less than a second. It's now 1.2, the gap to the Frenchman. And they're hitting back markers as well.
Yeah, Febvre setting his personal best on the previous lap, and then Webb's just responded with his. So it's a little bit of a battle here, and Webb got to got some clearer track ahead.
Under the watchful eye of Gareth Swanepoel, of course, former Grand Prix runner from South Africa. Definitely got his coaching head on, hasn't he, that guy now?
Just trying to suss out where Webb has the advantage in the lap, because Febvre's taking some different options, isn't he? He's making gains in some parts of the lap. One of the longest we've got in Grand Prix. It's great to have a 2:15 lap time.
Yeah, and he looked like he was on it down the bottom of the hill there as well. He hit that corner right on point, and he's right on the back of Cooper Webb now as well. So just over 2 laps to go. It's crunch time, folks. Cooper Webb and Romain Febvre. That's the gap. Less than, 3 or 4 bike lengths, something like that. So a mistake from either of these two riders now will determine it. And what a day it would be for Cooper Webb if he could walk away here with victory in Moto number 1. But Romain Febvre, as we said earlier on in the broadcast, Adam Wheeler, he would love to pick up a victory here. He doesn't have to win the race here to win the overall Grand Prix, but showing us signs of why he is the world champion this year. He's definitely taken it to them. He's not scared of the thought of coming to America, riding against the Americans on their home soil, is he? And but Cooper Webb is that very stubborn obstacle right in the way of the Frenchman at the moment.
Really nicely done there from Febvre on that last section, just like jumping through some of the rougher parts while Webb was hitting it. It's just like helping him towards keeping smoother and keeping that speed up. Like you said, Paul, his corner speed perhaps not as best as we've seen it, throughout other parts of the season, but well, he's certainly doing a job here on Webb. To be 2 laps to go.
Will be. Board is out, so just time running out for Romain Febvre. He managed to find a way briefly past the 175 yesterday in the qualifying race, but just didn't get on the gas early enough coming out of the final step up onto the start straight, and Webb was able to blast right by. But Febvre then at that point decided, okay, I'll try again, but just wasn't able to close him down. But he knows he's running out of time here if he's to pick up a race win here. 14 on the cards at the moment, Romain Febvre.
For me, it's going to be on the hills. If he can get him, it's going to be down one of the hills or dragging up. Febvre, of course, on the factory machine, the factory Yamaha, using electric start prototype stuff on that bike. Cooper Webb, as far as I know, pretty much on a modified stock version.
Yeah, the same, very similar. I was talking to one of the guys down there. He's alongside Cooper Webb, one of the guys down there at Star Yamaha, and he was saying that it's very, very similar to what Barcia has been riding all year. So using this as a great opportunity in readiness for the Monster Energy Motocross of Nations in France 1 week time at Ernay. So if you haven't already got your tickets or not booked your travel plans, get yourself down there, because these two are going to be providing the fireworks for Team USA and Team France, and the world champion alongside. He's gone through.
Oh, not yet.
Webb's going to take him straight on at the top of the hill.
Again, I was saying no respect for the fact that he's wearing that red number plate.
Will he try to go around the outside? Oh, nicely done from Romain Febvre. He should not have been allowed to find a way through there, but Webb allowed him to lean on him. I thought he was going to take him over the berm, but Romain Febvre leads with a lap and a half to go.
Would you knock the world champion off at the bottom hill, though, Paul?
Cooper Webb, he wants to win a race, doesn't he? No team orders there. Championship's done. Go out and get the 25 points. But Romain Febvre showing he wants it more. That's the reality in this first race. He's come from a long way back. He was around about, 6 or 7 seconds down at one point. And then he got caught behind Cairoli again. Got the gap to 4 as he got onto the rear wheel of Grant and Webb and Cairoli. And then suddenly, here he is, a lap and a half to go. He's found his way into the lead, and he's opened a few eyes here, Romain Febvre, because all of the Europeans have faded. They're like 30 seconds down. But look at this move here.
It's braking, pure braking. It's the quietest part on the track because they're completely shut off halfway down that hill. Look at it.
Drifting in there, setting himself up a treat. And Romain Febvre, he should never have been allowed to go around the outside there, hit the line and keep going. And that's exactly what he did. Great riding from Romain Febvre.
Measured.
Final lap. And Romain Febvre, 1.2 seconds clear now of Cooper Webb, but that's nothing in the greater scheme of things as they burst back onto the start straight here. Webb wants it back because the aggression, all of a sudden the body language has completely changed from Cooper Webb as he heads down past pit lane. They're 17 seconds clear of the early race leader, Josh Grant. Febvre knows he cannot make a mistake here. Oh, and taking no prisoners there. Is that the attempt that fails and costs him the race, Cooper Webb? He was going straight for the side of the bike there. That was a moment of madness, wasn't it?
I tell you what, if you can get close enough, see if Webb tries to do exactly what he did to Febvre. Febvre got a nice little leap down here, speed into this corner, fantastic. We were saying earlier on, did he have the same corner speed as we've seen for earlier in the season, Paul? And that's one section he's got nailed.
He's too far away. But Romain Febvre doing what we know he can do. He's on course for win number 15 here. But Cooper Webb opening everybody's eyes here this weekend at the Monster Energy the Monster Energy MXGP of the USA here at Glen Helen. Got a good start. He's ran it up there. He's led for a few laps on a few occasions here. But Romain Febvre just too good in the end, it would appear. Still got to bring it home though in the next third of a lap here.
You were talking about the championship and him winning and not necessarily beating other riders. I mean, he did beat Cairo, he has beaten Dessau, he has beaten Naga this year, and now he's beaten some of the best riders, well, some of the riders here at the US Grand Prix.
But we've always championed that, haven't we? Febvre has told us that himself. You know, he beat Cairo, he's beat Dessau, he beat all these guys before they all went out one by one. Right, here's Webb. Watch what happens here. Gets on the gas,
misses the rut,
just misses the rut, but I wonder how much of that was intentional as well, to try and get out and take the line away. But it was close, but he's not giving up the fight here, and Romain Febvre cannot afford to back off, because look how close Webb is. We're going to have a final corner showdown here. He needs to have the radar on, does Romain Febvre, who goes to the inside. Cooper Webb is not going to get it done. Out of the final corner, over the camelback. Romain Febvre takes a look over his shoulder, sees Webb right there, a heel clicker to celebrate the win, and a one-hand landed for Romain Febvre, who wins by 3/4 of a second. It's a Yamaha 1-2 in MXGP Race 1. Febvre wins from Webb. Grant, we wait for him to come over the line. Here he is, just 2 corners to go on the Monster Energy Kawasaki. Good showing from him, but just the pace a little bit too hot, quite literally, for Josh Grant. Thanks, Adam. We'll see you in MX2 a little bit later on. But Febvre wins then, Webb second, Grant third, Anderson. We wait for him to come over the line in 4th place. There's Kai Rowley. Did he find his way back past Anderson? No, there's Anderson just ahead of him. Kai Rowley in 5th. Then Coldenhoff just hanging on for 6th. Wilson up to 7th on the final lap, passing Gauthier Paulin. And Paulin over the line now ahead of his teammate, so he will take another 1 point clear of his teammate. So that's going to go out to 28 points. So Gauthier Paulin has secured 2nd in the championship with a 8th place finish in Moto number 1. Bobryshev 9th and Marvin Muscan on the Red Bull KTM 10th. Great ride for Ben Townley, the New Zealander, coming home in 11th place, a minute and 10 down on the leader and race winner Romain Febvre, with Jeremy Van Horbeek picking himself up off the deck at turn 1 to get back to 12th. Tommy Searle 13th, Davide Guarnieri should be 14th. And then it should be Jose Boutron, Davy Millsaps, Rattray up to 17th, passing Ferris on the final lap, Waters 19th, and Yamamoto will be 20th.
Thank you, Neil Ritchie right there. Dark time, nighttime, we're all having a good time. It's global, folks. We have gone global. Well, I don't know.
So the fans then treated some great racing here, both in MX2 Race 1 and MXGP Race 1. Romain Febvre, though, picking up the win by just under a second from Cooper Webb.
All right, Brock. We're going to give TV their chance to have the interview with the
cold drinks, the order of the day on this hot day. The action on track has been even hotter as well between Romain Febvre, Cooper Webb, Josh Grant, Jason Anderson. Look at that, 3 Americans in the top 4. 2nd, 3rd and 4th. But here's our race 1 winner, Romain Febvre, getting ready to speak once again to Lisa Leyland.
Romain Febvre, congratulations. Great racing from you, particularly in those last few laps when you took the lead off Webb. Who would have known under tough conditions?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we European, we are not to use this kind of weather. It's so hot over there, but you know, I take it easy. My start was not so good, and then I saw that I had the speed to follow the first guys, and just yeah, Hill I think was tired. Grant was a little bit tired, so I could manage the pass, and I catch Webb and pass over on the outside, so it was really nice. One more to go to do the overall.
Great job, thank you, Romain.
Romain Febvre with just one thing on his mind, one more to do to take the overall. His words there in that interview with Lisa Leyland. Rode hard for it as well, didn't he, in that first race. Looks like he's suffered a little bit for his actions, but he'll go back, he'll recover. I'm sure he's got an ice bath waiting for him to dive into at the back of the Yamaha truck. But Romain Febvre victorious here for the 15th time in 2015. A nice breeze blowing through the desert here at San Bernardino, Glen Helen Raceway. The Monster Energy MXGP of the USA, but confirmation then, Roman Febvre your winner by 7/10 of a second over Cooper Webb. Grant third, Anderson fourth. Americans second, third and fourth. Cairoli, Coldenhoff, Wilson way down the order at the start of the race, got himself back to seventh, passing Gauthier Paulin, who came home eighth. And that pass on the last lap, but that was good enough to secure Gauthier Paulin second overall in the championship, ahead of his teammate Bobryshev, who finished behind him in the race in ninth, and Marvin Muscan coming over the line in 10th. Good ride though for Ben Townley as well in 11th. And no Sean Simpson. He crashed at turn 1. Looked like he caught the rear wheel of one of the guys going in, and it just upended him, and everybody so close through that Talladega turn, carrying a lot of speed as well. And it was Simpson who felt the brunt of it. 4 or 5 guys going down in that. But here are the championship standings at the moment then. So Febvre, world champion in Assen. Paulin guaranteed second place in the championship now. That gap, 28 points back to Bobryshev. Simpson, 4th. Still got a little bit of work to do, but he might actually be okay, because just looking at the points here, the graphic just went really, really quickly there. Sean Simpson will stay on 2:07. Max Nagel will stay on 2:46. So that gap between those two guys was 39 points. So in that respect, Sean Simpson cannot be caught by Max Nagel. Here's a replay of the finish. Heel clicker for Roman Febvre, and 7/10 of a second later, Cooper Webb over the line. That's how close it was, folks. Jeremy Van Horbeek was, so yeah, I think Simpson may have just nailed down 4th place in the championship. Foxhole shot though, as we look at the dozers doing a little bit of track prep in readiness for MX2 race 2 in about an hour's time. Who was it that grabbed the foxhole shot? It was Cooper Webb by a country mile on that Yamaha Star Racing Yamalube machine. And here he is, Joe Aramitsu from BTO Sports, doing the honours. Nagel though uncatchable on 10. Cairoli 6, Roman Febvre has 5. Some of the highlights then from MXGP Race 1. We'll be back in about an hour's time to do it all again. Join us for MX2 Race 2. We'll see you then. Bye for now.